you've talked about shame, another emotion that is prominent, I guess. You could call it emotion, you could call it a process, I guess, as well as guilt. And I wonder how you distinguish the relative places of shame and guilt
Yeah,
in.
yeah. It's a good question because guilt gets tossed around. Guilt is sort of shame light. um, the to understand something about shame, like from the place I come from, is really affect theory and the people like Tompkins, Panksepp, Shaw, who kind of are the neuroaffective science mob, who I think have the clearest understanding of that, and they see panic, panic loss, they see shame, often working together as kind of primary affect systems. They're the
Mm,
systems that animate behavior. If we're looking at you know, Spinoza talked about bodies connecting. He talked about the conatus of a body, which is its its tendency, its capacity to endure, to exist, to continue its own existence, and it's through connection with other bodies,
mm,
affect and be affected by other bodies. Now, if we look at how bodies move in an assemblage or in a network, how they connect, there are politics that set directions. You know, the social ordering politics, the various kind of requirements and demands, but bodies move through force, through affect, and it's affect that animates this kind of
mm,
movement. And some of the primary affects associated with connection, panic loss, shame, um, that are vital.
mm,
How could we have connection with, how could we have ethical connection without shame?
mm,
I mean, look at some of the leaders around the world who demonstrate a seemingly shameless kind of way of operating. You know,
mm,
shame is that attunement, that sensitivity to the experience of the other that helps us set limits, that helps us respect boundaries, that
mm,
helps us form discretion where we know where to tread or where not to tread, and to have connection without shame. I heard of a German guy, Schneider, said to extirpate shame from relationships would be like taking the brakes off a car because they slow it down. You know, like this is kind of a vital aspect, and the formation of an ethical compass is really contingent on imminent shame. Now, the if we look at shame has an affective force to it. It
mm,
can feel toxic, you know, like it's not
mm,
easy to manage, as we know. You know,
mm,
we experience, you know, Raymond Gator talks about remorse. He says, you know, when we have that sense of the shock of wrongdoing the other, that, oh my God, what have I done? How could I have done that? I mean, it's a
mm,
horrible feeling, but yet
mm,
it's a vital feeling in a way, like of forming forming discretion in connection. Now,
mm,
now compare that with guilt. Guilt doesn't have much affective force. Guilt
mm,
is more a cognitive idea. It's more, it works well in courts of law and things like that. Guilt can be guilt can be dealt with through forgiveness or punishment. You know, you can, the guilty can then let it go. Shame actually engages our bodies. Shame holds us in a place. In fact, we might run away from it, but it will follow us. You know, it kind of,
mm,
until we find a way to actually hold it and address it and recognize the you know the importance and the necessity of it. I think guilt is often a shame avoidance thing. People
mm,
like to, in this area, people like to say, well, no, guilt is good because um, you can say to people, uh, yeah, you're a good person, but you've done a bad thing. And Now, I don't mind the concept of a person recognizing that there's goodness and that they've done a bad thing, but it's how you get to that point.